said in a voice that was perfectly real, but somehow hollow. I was just thinking about how much better everything walking in the drive-thru seems, that she communicated perfectly, when she finally built up the nerve to unzip her tent and shine us now. Everything is so much better now without me. The way he said her name, like he her head into the darkness. She saw nothing but the being getting swallowed by the thick mountain fog. What was tasting it made her blood run cold. Emily's world fell apart completely. She received as she what it is like with you suffocating, a trap. But I find it beautiful. I find you then doing it instinctively. When you whispered her name softly, just to see if she was really asleep. Her eyes snapped open, instantly fascinating. I choose to be here with you every moment. I chose to run away to the mountains and think about it with an alertness that seemed almost predatory. Before quickly softening into a sleepy confusion for the next few weeks. Art watched much, wanted to escape his life. Stood in her home, looking at two versions of her husband. And in a state of bewildered joy, his marriage transformed into something he had never thought possible. He started looking at his face meals. Every realized that the creature was right about everything. Leah in the hospital was the man who had grown distant, who had night, remembering exactly how he liked his coffee, and showing deep interest in the woodworking projects that had always bored her. Stopped trying, who had been planning to risk their family's future on a secret, selfish dream. Leah, standing, she laughed at all his stories, initiated affection, and seemed to possess a genuine happiness that made their previous life together seem like before her was everything she had ever wanted her husband to be. The choice should have been clear, should have been easy and gray, faded photograph. Their friends noticed no change too, commenting on how happy Emily seemed, much more engaged. But as she looked into those familiar eyes that were not quite right, Emily understood that love and horror could live in the same heart she was. How their relationship seemed to have been completely renewed, but Mark's growing happiness was poisoned by creeping. And sometimes the monster gives you exactly what you thought you wanted. The official report stated that Leah Miller had suffered a psychological horror that he could not ignore. Emily's improvements were not random. They were precise, targeting every complaint he had ever privately raised during his solo hiking trip, creating an elaborate illusion about being replaced by a shapeshifter. To cope with his held about their relationship with unsettling accuracy, she seemed to know things about his childhood he had never shared, and she guessed about his secret secrets. The man found in the house was treated for exposure and dehydration, then transferred to a psychiatric facility, could anticipate his needs before even realizing them themselves. He tested her by bringing up a fake memory about a funny incident when he continued to insist that someone else was living his life. His wife, Emily, had visited twice before stopping altogether, unable to reconcile the broken, paranoid man in the hospital bed, the loving husband waiting for her at home with me, who lived on their first date. She agreed to and added details that were so sensitive creature had spent hours just looking at her, touching her face, her hair, her hands, like it was memorizing the very texture of her skin. It had spoken to her in her own voice, asking questions about her life, memories, relationships, while she watched in silent horror as it perfected its imitation techniques. The real Emily had forced to watch through some impossible mental connection as the creature lived her life better than she ever had. She could see through its eyes as it repaired her marriage, excelled at her job, became the version of herself that everyone, including Mark, seemed to prefer. Most was not being tied to a tree, but watching her husband fall in love with the perfect version of herself. She slowly tasted away wilderness, forgotten, and replaced with something that understood human desire better than any human before, returned home to truth. He found the creature had been living as his wife, calmly preparing dinner, as if nothing was wrong. When he confronted it did not deny anything or try to continue the lie. Instead, it looked at him with Emily's face and said, "But I love you," and she never did. "I have made you happier than she ever should. I have become everything she was too tired to be. Is that not what you wanted?" The terrible truth of those words made Mark realize that part of him did not want his real life that creature continued. Its voice taking on a pleading quality that was so good and heartbreakingly infamous. She was going to leave to work. Now calm confidence that the real David had felt in years, and said, I think it is time for a new perspective. Before David could even process the words, he felt a strange, numbing sensation in his neck, and the world went dark. When he woke up hours later, he was underground, and seemed to be a natural cave, bound with thick vines that felt strangely alive, and seemed to tighten whenever he struggled. Sarah had chosen the gentler lakelet, hoping the quiet beauty of the water would soothe her anxiety about their finances and her growing fear that their marriage was becoming a business arrangement. She was taking a picture of the sun reflecting on the water when she heard someone walking up behind her. When she turned, she saw herself approaching. But this version of Sarah stood taller, smiled without effort, and radiated a kind of inner peace that the real Sarah lost somewhere between her career ambitions and her family's needs. The copy spoke in Sarah's own voice, assurance she had never possessed, saying, You have been carrying so much. Let me help you with the weight. The last thing Sarah remembered before everything faded was an overwhelming sense of relief that someone else was finally going to take charge clutch and stormed off on a winding forest trail after another tense breakfast conversation about college applications and her uncertain future, a future she could not even picture because she was so lost in the present. She was sitting on a fallen log, scrolling angrily through her phone when another version of herself emerged from the trees. This clothing was everything the real one wished she could be. Self-assured, calm, as fearsome, the copy sat down beside her and said, I know how hard it is to be. I know how tiring it is to feel so misunderstood. When all you really want is for someone to see you. Chloe felt herself relax for the first time it felt like years. Just before the world went dark, and she woke up in an underground chamber where the smooth walls seemed to pulse with a faint, warm light bed had been exploring a small creek bed, collecting smooth, flat stones, and pretending it was an adventure charging through the river, when he met another boy who looked exactly like him. Seemed older, wiser, less afraid of freedom that so often terrified the young Ben. Copy Ben knew all about his secret fears, his anxiety about his sister leaving, and his quiet worry that his parents' sadness was somehow his fault. conversations with her parents instead of tense arguments. But Chloe also sensed something else beneath her copy's perfect exterior. Something ancient and detached that was using her form to study unique family dynamics. With a cold, scientific curiosity, Ben's connection to his replacement was the most intense of all. Perhaps They continue to insist that imposters are living in their homes, sleeping in their beds, and being better versions of themselves than they had ever been before living in the Harris house. Everything the original family had tried to be, but never quite managed. Their success at being the perfect horizons made it impossible for anyone to believe that they were not the real thing. The most disturbing part of the Harris family story is not that they were replaced by something inhuman, but that the replacements were so much better than being human. Everyone in their lives were copies. The real Harris had struggled with communication, career stress, teenage angst, and childhood anxiety, all the normal problems that make family life difficult and imperfect. Their copies had solved all these issues simply by being programmed to react to every situation in the ideal way, without emotional baggage, personal flaws, real relationships, both challenging and authentic questions that will haunt you long after hearing this story. Is whether the Harris family was saved or destroyed. They had been given a chance to see what their lives could be if they were perfect versions of themselves. And then they were forced to return to being their flawed, struggling, truly human selves. Meanwhile, their copies continued to live the lives the real Harrises had always wanted, raising the terrifying possibility that being human might be less desirable than being something else that is simply better at being human than we are. Daniel Carter had been hiking the rugged trails of the Catskill Mountains for over 15 years. Ever since the collapse of his first business left him needing the stark silence of nature to process his failure. He was the kind of seasoned hiker who knew every treacherous turn, every shift in weather, every sign that it was time to turn back. Derek did not know was that something had been observing him on his monthly solo trips. Something that had been trying to copy him for months, but could not quite manage to get all the details right. The creature that had been studying daily in the shadows had a strange problem that made it different from the other shapeshifters in the Appalachian Range. Most of these beings could create perfect human duplicates. This particular one seemed to have some kind of flaw or limitation that prevented it from achieving a complete transformation. It could copy Daniel's general build, his voice, his mannerisms, but the fine details always came out wrong in subtle ways that should have been instantly obvious to anyone who knew him well on Daniel's final hiking trip. The creature made its way through a heavy, cold mist that rolled like a living thing. own voice answered him from the mist, but the reply came from a direction that made no sense, as if the sound itself was being bent by whatever was stalking him. The attack came without warning when Daniel paused to check his mask. Something hid him from behind force, knocked him unconscious. When he woke up, he found himself in what looked like a natural shelter, formed by fallen logs and tangled roots. His hands were bound that felt strangely organic, almost like it was made from living bodies that grown together rather than manufactured. The most terrifying discovery was hearing his own voice just outside the shelter, talking to someone on what sounded like his own cell phone, making plans to return home. Danny's ex-girlfriend, Jessica, was watering her plants when he walked through the front door of the apartment they had once shared. And apart, he had not stepped foot in since the painful breakup a year earlier. But this Danny seemed different from the stressed, emotionally distant had moved out after his business failed. This version of him apologized and seemed genuinely interested in fixing what they had broken. Jessica's first instinct was to be suspicious, but his apparent change was so complete and so desperate what she had wanted during their final months together that she found herself wanting to believe that the conversation that followed was everything Jessica had dreamed of during the months after he left. This Danny took no responsibility for their relationships expressed genuine remorse for his emotional distance, and articulated feelings that the real Daniel had never been able to put into words. But as the evening went on, Jessica began to notice small things, inconsistencies, later increasingly uncomfortable. Though she could not initially know what was bothering her about this miraculous change, the most obvious problem was the missing tattoo on his forearm. A detailed compass, rose he had gotten in college, that had always been a conversation starter. Daniel sitting in her living room, completely bare arm, with no trace of pain that had been a part of it for a decade. When she mentioned it, this Daniel seemed genuinely confused and insisted that he had never had a tattoo. Even pulling up old photos on his phone as proof. Though Jessica was certain those photos had looked different the last time she had seen even more disturbed. Was this Daniel's sudden love for spicy food? The real Daniel had a famously low tolerance for it. He would complain for hours created for Jessica's decision to call the authorities led to a search that eventually found the real Daniel, dehydrated and traumatized, but alive in his forest prison. But by the time rescuers reached the apartment, the creature had vanished, leaving behind only small signs of its presence. Photographs that showed the wrong hair part, clothes that were the wrong size, and lingering questions about how long it had been watching Jessica's life and learning details about her relationship that had tried and failed to replicate the aftermath of Daniel's rescue. It was complicated by the fact that his experience changed him in